Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on the old show today, this is the Mercedes-Benz E300 BlueTec Hybrid, which made quite the impressive little trip, as they actually took this vehicle using the 1.2-liter turbocharged diesel, making 240 brake horsepower. That's made it up with a 27 brake horsepower electric hybrid setup, and this particular vehicle made a trek that is pretty much beyond belief. The trek was from Tangier down in Africa all the way north up to the Goodwood Festival of Speed, and they made all of this using the 21-gallon extended tank available from your Mercedes dealership. They made it in that one tank full. That is 1,968 kilometers, or 1,223 miles. And they claim that there was some more room and the tank had more fuel in there and could have gone even further. A very, very impressive little trek from the folks over at Mercedes-Benz. This is a pretty exciting little automobile. Speaking of the Goodwood Festival of Speed, in fact, in the very last program we talked about was one of the big hits that went up the hill, the world record run that was back in 1999, which was Nick Heidfeld in a West Mercedes Grand Prix, or West McLaren Mercedes Grand Prix car. That record run was in 41.60 seconds. Well, just last weekend at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, Sebastian Loeb was going to try his hands using the 208 Peugeot Pikes Peak Hill Climb car, try to make that record run his. And sadly, Mr. Loeb came up just a tad bit short, as they only made it up in 44.60 seconds, which is still pretty doggone quick. So sadly enough, that record will remain with Mr. Heidfeld and the McLaren Mercedes team, at least for now, especially now that the whole Goodwood deal is not allowing modern day Grand Prix cars to make full blast runs up the hill, especially with how rough the road actually is. It'd be very, very dangerous. So don't allow Grand Prix cars to do that anymore. But a vehicle that did make a record run and going up against some quite stiff competition is the Nismo Nissan GT-R. This car continues to carve out an impressive little resume for itself. This vehicle is now the fastest supercar up the hill with a record run of 49.27 second lap. Now, this was not unprecedented as far as having big time competition. There were LaFerraris there was the brand new Koenigsegg 1:1, not to mention the McLaren P1s and the Lamborghini Verino. There was tons of high-speed equipment that couldn't match this GT-R's time. And not to mention, the driver behind the wheel of this vehicle is not a full-blown racing driver. Well, I guess he kind of is now, but he actually started like a lot of us have. He was actually one of the big-time winners in the Nissan Gran Turismo setup, where they actually take on video gamers and try to turn them into racing drivers. Yeah, the kid is pretty young and has basically been a gamer most of his life, more than he's been a race car driver. So pretty doggone impressive feat from the folks over at Nissan in this particular GT-R. Then the hammer got let down over the past several days as the brand new SRT Challenger Hellcat that was rumored to have over 600 brake horsepower, pumping out of that 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi V8. Well, they missed it by a tad bit. A lot of us in the media were focusing around that this vehicle wouldn't get over its big brother, the SRT Viper, making 640 brake horsepower out of its 8-liter normally aspirated V10. Well, they missed it. This thing is now the most powerful Chrysler product ever built. That 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi V8 is making 707 brake horsepower and 650 pounds-feet of torque. Yeah, this car is going to move down the road quite nicely. Everything that you're seeing on this particular car and everything that we're hearing on this car is going to be quite the weapon out there on the public highways. So cannot wait to get to see some first reviews on this particular automobile, and we'll keep you in tune of what comes out next. But man, oh man, 707 brake horsepower. I was stunned. Next up on the list, the folks over at MG put out a little concept. This is the M3 Trophy Championship concept. Now, they were showing this particular vehicle off as a feasibility study. Now, this thing's been on the weight reduction big time. Very lightweight, full cage. This is more of a track car, race car type situation, especially because of the enhanced spring rates on this vehicle. Totally adjustable McPherson struts on all four corners. Fully adjustable front splitter, fully adjustable rear wing on this vehicle. Now the power is a little on the modest side, but the performance numbers are not too shabby. The 1.5 liter turbocharged four-cylinder puts out 204 brake horsepower and 191 pounds-feet of torque, but they're already estimating that this vehicle will be able to do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. Not too shabby, but that is an estimate. They're also estimating this car will have a top speed of 155 miles an hour. No real word on whether they're actually going to build this car or what maybe the pricing could be. Actually hearing a couple of rumors about that are a little bit eye-watering, but we'll keep you in tune if anything else comes out on this particular machine. And last up on the list, remember that Corvette sinkhole? The big sinkhole that swallowed up a whole bunch of Corvette vehicles underneath the Corvette Museum in Louisville, Kentucky. Well, if you've seen some of my programs over the past several months, you saw me kind of campaign that they should actually keep a section of the hole. I mean, this is now a part of the Corvette Museum history moving forward, and they probably shouldn't rebuild all the automobiles. Actually should keep a couple of them at least for posterity. Well, apparently some of my dreams are going to come true. The hole as it is, and thanks to this thing, the actual membership to the Corvette Museum, not to mention the merchandising and the tourism, has gone through the roof on this deal, which is kind of a play on words, maybe a little bit. Enough that they've had a meeting over the past several days, and I've actually tried to wait on this story for actually the past week to actually try to get a little bit more on this deal. But apparently the official part is the sinkhole is staying. Yes, they're going to keep the entire hole as it is, or as it was after recovering all the vehicles. And there's some rumors floating about that some of those Corvettes are going back into the hole, actually as part of the display. This is going to be pretty doggone neat, and I tell you what, the Louisville, Kentucky Corvette Museum is not too very far away, so I see maybe a Motor Cars road trip in the future. May have to go down there and check this thing out for myself. Very interesting situation. I'm stupidly happy that they're going to keep the sinkhole. I don't know why. That makes me so excited. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. If you want to jump on over to the Facebook page, the link's down in the show notes. Also, if you want to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time and get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.